So I took this and I tried to touch it on my sanding disc on the lathe, and that didn't work, so I decided I would try the Longworth chuck. The Longworth chuck didn't work for this one. In fact, what it did was it sent it flying and trying to kill me. And it broke in half. So I had to glue it back together. But it didn't really do it any harm. It got a little ding on it, but other than that, it's okay. The other one, however, I put on the Longworth chuck, and it worked good. And what I did was I cut inside of here, and this is a piece of cherry that I'm using for the bottom. I mentioned that before. And what I did was I fit one inside of the other a little bit to give it a good grab. And I still have lots to work with here. I can deepen this some. But this piece on the bottom, you may be able to see here the marks. I used a stem center, and I used it just enough that I could put a tenon in here. So, and you can see there's a little split that I poured some CA into, and that's why I put a tenon instead of a mortise. But anyways, this thing didn't try to kill me, but I glued it all up. And then I took this thing and I used my sanding disc and flattened it all up. I did the same thing with these two rings that had previously been glued up. I did both of these inside surfaces on the sanding disc, and I glued them up. I'm starting to get my checkerboard pattern. And then I took these, they were pretty close anyways, but I took these and did the outsides on the sanding disc as well. So now what I have is this. And you can see it's given it a sort of a round shape in the bottom. But I'm ready to glue these together, and so far it's coming out really nice. And then this, once I can lift it, I'll have to smooth this up some. And I may have to go back to the sanding disc on this one, but it will go there, and that will give me the curve in. And once this is all glued up and turned, I mean, I should get a nice clean outcome on this here, the same as this edge is. But once it's turned, you're never going to see that anyways. And then I'll cut the squiggly in here for the yarn. But so far I'm really quite pleased with that little revelation that I had with using the stretchy stuff. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to glue this up now, and when it's dry, well, we'll see about getting this glued up on there too. So I got a hunch I need a lot of more sanding to do, because the Longworth chuck just does not want to play with this well. It does not work and play well with wood. At least not this shape of wood anyway. and we'll get it sanded up. There's not that much, and that's a 100 grit that I have on the sanding disc. So it'll chew that off of there pretty quick, and the rest we'll clean up on the lathe. Bingo. Okay, I just glued on this last ring after I smoothed the bottom on my disc on the lathe, and it's come out very nice. So now tomorrow afternoon, I guess, we'll hook it up and turn it. You can see I have my specialized custom made clamp here. As we all know, you can never have enough clamps. So hopefully this thing will stay in one piece tomorrow and not try to kill me. So we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be okay. It's got a nice shape. It's going to be good. All right, I already started rounding this up a little bit. It's looking pretty good. But a couple of spots that didn't really have enough glue in them, so I put a little bit more just to make sure there was no tiny cracks in between the glue joints. And it's looking okay, but in the minute while this is drying, I still have a few small flat spots left on the pieces. Not tons of them, just here and there, but I'm going to go ahead and work the inside some while that little bit of glue I put in is drying up. So let's go ahead and try that. I hate that sound. Just clean off my face shield. I'm going to use Big Red Easy Wood finishing tool. $750 RPM. I'm just about to put the last coat of finish on this yarn bowl here. You can see my little squiggly that I cut. I should have showed you that too, I guess, but anyway, I got some 300 grit here. I'm just gonna give it a scuff coat with this, and then we'll give her another drink of Zinsser. I'm turning at 250 here. Trying not to get my fingers stuck in that squiggly. You can tell, I can tell, when I've touched this enough. You don't want to take the finish off that you've already done, but you can see when it loses that nice shine, and you can tell when the sandpaper isn't dragging quite so much across it, that you've taken any little burry spots off it. Each coat you put on, it just gets smoother and smoother. So I don't, with these yarn bowls, I usually put 5 or 6 coats of this on, because the last thing you want to do is put a ball of yarn in here and have it catching on little nicks, because that kind of defeats the purpose of the whole thing. But anyways, I've had some nice comments in the past about the nice finish that I put on these yarn bowls. Now I just use a piece of paper towel. Actually, I'm going to take a new one. This one's getting kind of mucked up. I transfer Zinsser from the big bucket into this little Rubbermaid gadget here. Oops, let's have some light. That's one thing about Zinsser. It gives you a nice contact buzz from the smell of it. The denatured alcohol, as Americans call it, methyl hydrate as we call it. I use a brush to do this now and then, but I find that you get runs and streaks, and I get a much nicer finish using the paper towel or a rag or whatever you choose to use. Now comes the tricky part. The first one or two of these bowls that I did, I used a small brush to get in there, and the other problem with Zinsser is, unless you're prepared to take the time to clean your brush out with some methyl hydrate, it just goes in the garbage. So that's another reason I like to use a rag or a paper towel. They're kind of meant to go in the garbage. Just make sure I got all the way in there. I think I did. Okay. Oh. Still got to do the bottom. That's the other problem with this. You get it on your fingers, it's there for a day or two. There we go. Now I'll let that dry for a little while and I'll bring you back for another little chat. Well, here's the finished product, the yarn bowl that also had the remarkable revelation by myself of the new clamping technique for the compound miter cut ring in the bowls. And anyways, it's currently measuring 9.5 or 9 by 5.5, and this is the little squiggly for the yarn to come out. It's maple and plantation teak, and it was definitely a bit of a challenge to make. The bottom is just a single piece of cherry, and it's amazing this chatoyance that's in this plantation teak. I didn't realize it was in there until I started putting some finish on it, and then it just sort of brought it out. And, every time I give it a spin by hand, I seem to find a new piece that has chatoyance in it. But it was definitely a challenge, and I hope some of you turners that may be watching get an understanding of what happened when I used the stretchy stuff to clamp, because it certainly does seem to work well. So I'll be using that, I think, all the time in the future. And it's not hard to acquire. I mean, even if you, down in the States, it might be different, but you can probably get it at the drugstore or someplace. I don't know. It may even be available on Amazon. I don't know. But anyways, thanks for watching, and hope you took something away from this one. And please like and subscribe and share if you know someone, especially for the clamping bit, that may be interested. Or contact me, leave me a comment. I'll get back to you for sure. And thanks again. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next Schroedman's Shop.